the Back podcast, unlocking FPL success with stats, data, and expert analysis. My name is Darren, and as always, I am joined by my good buddies Scott and Paul. Boys, how are you doing?
Good, man. Stressful week. New grand kid into the world. Not me, like personally. I turned up late and added all the drama by crying and stuff. But no, good week, great week. In fact, put FPL to one side for a bit. Detuned, got out of the swing of it for a while, which is needed sometimes. And but now fully charged and ready to go for this week.
Yeah, well, congratulations, mate, and congratulations to your daughter, and hope both her and baby are healthy and happy and all that.
Thank you very much.
Paolo, how are you doing, mate? Any grandkids in the coming down the pipeline for you, or
You
is it too early?
I should hope not. That would be way too soon. I've got way too many grey hairs already. I don't need any more. I'm similar to Scott, raring to go. The international break is always torture, and we'll get into plenty of discussions about it. But as always, it's throwing a spanner in the works for a lot of us FPL players leading into game week 12.
Totally pointless too, this break. I mean, most of the nations played friendlies, didn't they? Which is like totally pointless in my view.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was Brazil versus Senegal, and it was randomly played in England.
Like, was it the Emirates, Paul?
It was Emirates, wasn't it?
Ironically, it was at the Emirates, yeah.
All right. Anyway, getting into this episode, we're going to be doing a lot of talk about those international break injuries and who to replace them with. If you haven't heard the news, obviously that there is a few key players that have been struck down with international break injuries. So we're going to be guiding you through some key transfers and replacements for those. Liverpool's fixture swing is high up on the agenda. They are top of the fixture ticker going into game week 12. So a nice run of games for Liverpool coming up. And whether or not, we'll be discussing whether or not it's worth investing in Liverpool assets. Outside of Mr. Salah himself, of course, and going through some of the other transfer plans and replacements that we might need to consider for game week 12. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about the fixtures, and we'll talk a little bit about our own team selections towards the end of the episode as well. If you are watching and you have not liked or subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now. A lot of the data that we have that suggests the people that watch this episode, only 50% of you are actually subscribed to the channel. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because it definitely helps the channel grow and helps the algorithm pick it up and all that lovely stuff. Let's crack on and get into it. Let's first of all, I think probably best to get into the game week 12 fixtures, just so we can highlight a couple of the games that we're going to be looking towards over this week. Scott, looking at that fixtures list, anything there that's taking your fancy as a fixture to watch and look at?
Well, you got the early kickoff, the Burnley-Chelsea game. If you've got Chelsea assets, you're looking at that one pretty keenly. Burnley are probably the weakest team, I would say, in the division, despite them not being rock bottom. They have looked very vulnerable. Chelsea surely put a few goals past them. Bournemouth, West Ham. Again, I know a lot of teams have tripled up or doubled up on Bournemouth assets. This is a proper test of how Nuno has got into that West Ham squad and maybe made them a bit tougher. This has been their first sort of big test away from home at a ground that they tend to struggle at. And then you've got the big North London derby on the Sunday, which I'm sure Paul will go on for about 45 minutes on in a minute. Big clash. Obviously, there's a great fixture in the calendar that we all look out for as being London boys. And Arsenal look to stretch their lead at the top.
Yeah, Paul, I bet that's the fixture that you're buzzing for that this weekend. Obviously, it's the one that you look out for all season. Aside from the ones that Scott's highlighted there, though, the Burnley, Chelsea, and the Bournemouth, West Ham games. Any other games there for yourself that's taking your fancy as, I don't know, potentially entertaining, high scoring, or got a little bit about it at all?
Probably two. Obviously, Palace away to Wolves. Wolves are really struggling down that bottom end, and Palace are the XG big chance creators of the league. Let's hope they convert a few, I guess, for a lot of us high Palace owners. And then the other one for me is Villa versus Leeds, also on Sunday. Villa look like they turned the corner, and their fixtures are looking quite nice in the coming 6 weeks. So I am intrigued, especially as I have a potential free hit game week 13 plan. So I kind of want to get a view of what assets to be looking at for Villa, because at the moment I'm not too sure which ones to pick up.
Hard to call Villa, aren't they?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
get in
there.
We'll get into your game week 13 plans. I'm sure throughout the episode.
Aaron, are you looking at that Newcastle fixture like you always do?
Yeah, of course, always.
It's a second club now, Darren, I think.
Yeah, obviously Bruno Guimaraes is going to be the man that's going to drag Newcastle to a 1-0 victory over City. I'm certain of it. Although I have transferred a Newcastle player out this week, so I haven't got that much faith. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It'd be interesting to see how they fare, because they're really up there with regards to the defensive qualities so far this season. And the last couple of games, that form has really dipped, and they're looking a bit fragile. And obviously City coming to town, it's probably not a fixture that you look forward to. So it'd be interesting to see whether they can bounce back and become more difficult to beat against a fairly rampant City side.
They got some defensive issues as well in Newcastle. Burns suspended, and Nick Pope's touch and go with that concussion that he suffered in the previous game. He's not been cleared officially yet, so they could end up going with no left back because Hall's still missing. And your man Malik Chow, Darren, might be the only defender available to play.
Well, that's unfortunate because he won't be playing for me.
We'll come to this discussion at the end when we come to rip your team apart.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, it's the thing that I look forward to the most every week.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to the random Newcastle player you bring in. This week will be the random Newcastle player you've removed. So
I've removed. Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Joe Linton is still not on the shopping list just yet, though. I will let you know. Cool. So yeah, I mean that's the game week 12 fixtures and the fixture difficulty rating for you. Obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you can see that Liverpool right at the top of that with Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds running right into that game week 16 AFCON kind of player loss, I suppose you might call it, where obviously Salah will depart amongst with a bunch of other Premier League stars, but a nice run in all the same up to that point. So I'm guessing that well, I'm not guessing. I know that they will want to make the most of Salah over the next 4 game weeks. And
that's a
very nice,
fixtures, though, isn't it?
Say that again. Sorry.
If you have to cherry pick a run of fixtures that you want, they don't come much better than that run of 6 there.
No.
Which is why we wanted to discuss Liverpool in the next section, because they're a conundrum. They got the best fixtures, and they're the champions. I mean, but are there any assets there you want to trust? I mean, it's a strange old season for them. No one's firing. They look shaky at the back, so you can't really invest with confidence in their back line either. Salah's done little bits and pieces, but at the price, he's very, very poor value. So I mean, let's get into it. Let's have a discussion on Liverpool and if we're going to be spending that money on their assets.
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, it's you have to highlight where they rank over the last 4 or 5 game weeks, which these graphics are very helpfully put together for us. So obviously, scoring 5 goals in the last 4 games puts them actually kind of mid-table. There's plenty of teams that have scored way more. Big chances, though. Interestingly, they are near the top of the table, probably competing with the likes of City, Arsenal, and Palace for big chances created. But that conversion rate is shockingly low. Only barely was 9%, or is it 8.2%? Chance conversion is criminally low for a team that traditionally, you put your house on scoring with the likes of Salah and Ekatike, and they've brought in the likes of Wirtz and Isak, and all of those like top quality players that should be able to put the ball in the back of the net, but just aren't for whatever reason.
And for the last 2 seasons, poor old Darwin Núñez got blamed for not being able to score the goals. And it turns out it wasn't him all along.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how that works sometimes, isn't it?
Have they sold him, or was he on loan?
I'm pretty sure they've sold him.
Sold him. Yeah. Sad, because I bet they wish they had him now.
It's tough reading those attacking stats, like you say, especially with the amount of attacking assets they have at their disposal. And the commentary I pulled out is they're rotating a lot of that front line. Gakpo was ever present to start the season, and he's been on the substitute bench for the last 2 game weeks. For what reason? Who knows? Wirtz and Ekatike, again, have only started 3 of the last 6. So again, how can you invest, again, with those high-cost FPL assets in those 3 and not know that they're going to be guaranteed minutes? So it really jumps to you that the only one that really you can invest in is Salah, and the level of cost versus reward at the moment doesn't balance out. And then you're really digging at the deep end when you start. I was even looking at Sabozlai thinking, and you're thinking, God, Jesus, what am I praying for here? A set piece assist, a set piece goal. He's a little bit more involved in open play so far this season, which I think is a positive for him. But again, not really awe-inspiring that you really want from those Liverpool attackers.
I've seen him in loads of teams on socials in the last 10 days. I think people are gravitating towards him because of the lack of options in that Liverpool team. Like you say, he's never present. He started 11 from 11, which gives you the security of minutes. I guess he's providing value at 6.5 million. But yeah, his output is poor. I mean, he's had 1 goal and 1 assist all season, and that goal was that worldie against your boys. And that was it. Outside of that goal, he's not scored all season. So he's only, he's 5.2% owned currently. He's had a price rise this week. So prior to that, he would have been something like 1% owned, which is mad. You're right to highlight those players. But my take on this is that everyone knows how good Salah is. Salah for the last 10 seasons has been the king. He hasn't lost his ability. So surely with those fixtures coming up, I think you could quite conceivably say, well, let's mix it. Let's invest in him, in Salah, because you know what he's capable of, and to get ahead of the curve, to do it this week. I don't know where you find the money from. You'd have to rejig a lot of funds, but there's a lot of free transfers. I know people have been storing them up. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because who'd be surprised we come back in 2 weeks' time and he's got back-to-back braces, and everyone's now clambering over to get him because they wasted their transfers on filling international injuries instead of being proactive. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised, right?
Yeah, I think that's the conundrum with the international injuries as well. On top of this, obviously, again, it's really kibosh my team per se, and I'd plan for a lot of these fixtures and my squad is based around all these really nice fixture swings, and now it's kind of switched it around. And yeah, I must admit, obviously Liverpool are on my short list for assets with those fixtures, and looking at them, I was really struggling. And Salah is the only one, and I think for me, he's going to be my free hit pick. I'm going to try and build a squad around him for that West Ham fixture. Is my current view, and more long term, I'm really struggling. I understand why people are picking Szoboszlai for that reason. It's because they want to be part of potential points, but they haven't got the wiggle room or the transfers to get to Salah.
I mean, Virgil's going to be huge. I think Virgil will be the pick, because if the news that we got today that Gabriel's injury is probably quite bad, and he might miss 4 to sort of 6 weeks, then I think the easy switch up from him is to go to Virgil, and I think that'll be a very popular transfer in this week, and you'll see his price go up. I've thought about it myself, but you look at his returns, he's had no goals, no assists. DEFCON's in 6 of the 11 games, so he's not getting them all the time, half the time. And that Liverpool backline has looked so bad. It looks so poor. I mean, on the XGC, they are 15th, Liverpool, which tells you how bad they've been. It's only the bottom 5 clubs that are worse than they are. So to invest even in a Virgil as a Gabriel replacement would be a huge risk. So, but what I can see people do.
I mean, this is the reason why we're having this conversation, though, right? Because I feel like that a huge amount of the FPL player base will assume that the assets from one of the top performing sides in the league should be a safe bet. But I think what we've just done there is proven that they're anything but. Obviously, you mentioned there about Szoboszlai being in a lot of teams across social media and what you've seen there, and actually the returns don't really justify that. I wanted to get your thoughts on Gravenberch. I feel like that, not from an FPL perspective, but certainly eye test and football punditry perspective, he seems to be getting a lot of coverage and a lot of airtime at the moment as a player that's maybe ticking along and doing things for Liverpool, but maybe going under the radar a bit.
Well, his stats don't back up his goal and assist returns. I mean, he's got 3 goals and 2 assists, but his XG is 0.56, which is woeful. I think Alisson has a higher XG than he has, and he hasn't played for the last 3 weeks. I mean, seriously, he's been seriously bad on the numbers. People that jumped on him, they're just the guys that pick players based on points won, without looking at anything else. The knee jerk brigade. If he was to score this week, Gravenberch, he'd be the top transferring player for next week. That's the only reason why he's got any sort of traction. He's 4.8% owned. I mean, I wouldn't have thought the top managers, maybe the top 100,000 managers in the game have him. I think you find a majority of owners will be sort of bottom end that just chase the points based on the previous week.
Yeah. For me, his points have come from, one, he leads the press fairly well for Liverpool, and he seems to be that guy that's on the edge of the box for when the ball breaks, and that's where a lot of his opportunities have come from that he's converted. They're very low XG chances that he's put away, which is a plus if you've got those type of players when you have them. But as always with using statistics, it shows that long term he's probably not a valuable pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if he blanked in every one of those game weeks outside of maybe the odd DEFCON here and there.
So this is what this conversation is about, right? So this is about, are you the sort of manager that picks players on points already gained and go with those trends? Or are you one that looks at the future and says, well, here's an opportunity to get ahead of the game? I think this is the perfect scenario for that, because I think the mass majority of people won't be looking at Liverpool players because they've not amassed those points. But me and you, or the three of us, look at that and go, well, those fixtures are too good. They are way too good. And someone like a Salah or a Gakpo, or someone we haven't discussed, Ekitike or Isak comes in, or one of those Liverpool boys are going to come in and absolutely rip it up over the next 6 to 8 games. I think it's just a case of who you get on and that risk you want to take.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is, the form of some of these players is telling us one thing. Wirtz, for example, ripped up on the international break.
Mm-hmm.
Again, does that mean he's worth a risk? I'm not so sure. So it's a really tough call to make, but I see value in the risk because the fixtures. You've got to think that all they need is to start converting those big chances in attack.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you're in easy street with regards to having Liverpool assets, but especially attack. But it's picking them, and I can't see past Salah personally. The only other player that would really tempt me is Gakpo, but that determines on whether I'd probably wait to see for the Forest game whether he's going to start, because you need to have that guarantee that he's going to play.
Do you think the rotation comes from Slot having to try and fit those players in, or not knowing his best 11, or just the fact that a lot of players are out of form?
I think a mixture of all of those points.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's trying to push Wirtz to find his feet. He's trying to give Isak time to find his fitness and bed into the squad, and which is probably why Ekitike's in and out. And that's probably similar also why Gakpo's also not been starting, because he's trying to find other ways of winning without having to rely on moments of, let's be honest, moments of real quality from Gakpo at the earlier stages of the season, which he hasn't been able to carry through. So I think, he's really trying to juggle as much as he can with fairly unsuccessfully, even though they seem to have turned some level of corner. Obviously, those Champions League breaks are certainly, I think, helping.
Well, if we were having this conversation before the Man City match and just after the Real Madrid game, I think the Liverpool assets will be bought in en masse, wouldn't they? But the City performance and that brought everyone back down to earth regarding Liverpool and where they really are. Strangely, they put in such a great performance against Madrid and thoroughly deserved the win and made a very good side look quite ordinary. Odd. I can't quite put my finger. We spoke about Liverpool a few bits like the early part of the season. That it's hard to put your finger on exactly what is going on, because the drop off from last season is pretty staggering. What about Isak? Just throw it out there.
I was just going to say, I've probably got a clue for you. It's probably something to do with spending 250 million quid on two players that have done next to now in the first 11 game weeks. And you were just about to say about Isak. That's where I was going with that conversation, I think.
Well, it's just everyone knows how good he is. He's
sure.
been described as the best striker in world football last season. Comes into that Liverpool side. I know he was undercooked because of his shenanigans in the pre-season. Needed time to get up to speed, pick up an injury because of it, because he wasn't quite ready. But surely at some point he comes good and starts cooking.
Of course,
and we all want him.
Of course, I think that will almost certainly happen. I think this is not a player that's come in from outside of the league, and even if he had, like we'd seen what he'd done over in Europe, and it was enough for Newcastle to bring him into the Premier League, and he did what he did at Newcastle, well enough. I think there's no doubt that Isak will be a great player for Liverpool eventually. But I think you've hit the nail on the head. No preseason. His mind was almost certainly elsewhere, and in trying to manufacture this move in the first place. and so it's had a very obvious effect in these opening game weeks. If we get to sort of through to December and Salah's away at AFCON, and maybe we start to see the best of Isak, because almost certainly the success of the team from game week 16 onwards is going to be squarely on his shoulders, surely.
Well, let's get a one-word answer from the two of you then. It's a yes, no, or maybe. Paul, are you going to be bringing in a Liverpool player this week?
Yes, I would expect so based on the Gabriel news. Those stats don't make positive reading, but I have to believe there are some clean sheets within those games.
Yeah,
I can't see it. West Ham aren't particularly firing. Nottingham Forest are not particularly firing. Again, Leeds, Sunderland game at home is quite difficult.
you can see 4 clean sheets. At Liverpool last season, you'd bank on 4 clean sheets out of those 6 for sure.
You would do, but unfortunately, we're certainly not seeing that for whatever reason, and it's the defence hasn't really changed too much. If anything, you would suggest it's improved in personnel.
Poor old Trent. Him and Darwin took the brunt of Liverpool. Turns out they were the superstars all along. So what about you, Darren? Are you in a word bringing in a Liverpool asset this week?
In a word, no. But if I was to replicate Paul's monologue that followed,
we'd run out of time.
Yeah. No, not for me. Not for me this week. The only player that really I would trust to bring in would be Salah. And if I'm going to do that, I have to ditch Haaland. And that for me, it just doesn't make sense to do that, unfortunately. Not with the form of both players side by side, which is a real shame, because I think looking at those fixtures, you're absolutely right. In previous seasons, you would have gone, okay, well, that's 4 clean sheets. It's a hatful of goals. I think you would have traditionally have said, if we were looking at last season, for example, you would have gone, Forest and Brighton might give them the most difficult test. But obviously looking at Forest of this season, then really, and obviously knowing what Sunderland have done in the first 11 weeks, you'd probably now say Sunderland and Brighton are probably the most difficult test. Because even Spurs really have kind of fallen apart in the last 3 or 4 weeks in terms of like defensive frailties and inability to score and things like that. So, yeah, you would have gone 4 out of 6 of those games. Liverpool run away with them all day. But there's just no assets. There's no data there to suggest any of their assets are capable of pulling up trees outside of Salah, who is 14 plus million. And it's just,
I think it's a shame for the game, to be honest. The game of FPL that Salah's not on the levels of Haaland this early part of the season, because it makes the game more interesting if you've got to decide between the two of them, or try and fit the two together. It makes it more interesting. So I'm hoping, selfishly, that Salah does spark and gives us something to think about. Maybe that we start contemplating dropping Haaland for Salah at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just so difficult. I think we can't realistically go from having a conversation of Haaland being perma captain to dropping him the next week just because Liverpool are on a good run of fixtures, especially when Salah hasn't.
Darren.
Go on.
I'll give you a scenario where that might play out. What rank are you?
Last time I looked, like 5.2.
So in that scenario, it might be worth contemplating that move.
It's a risky one. I think that's the main call out, right? Is because of the indifferent form of Liverpool. No matter who you pick, it's a fairly big risk, even though the fixture swing is gorgeous on paper.
There's a
and
fiver.
It's the brave call in itself in getting that right Liverpool asset, and I think that's the difficult hustle FPL players will be figuring out.
Well, I'm thinking if I'm ranked 5 million in the world and my team consists of Haaland, he's the only player you can remove to try and get ahead of the curve, and Salah would be the play. So I wouldn't dismiss it. I'd be looking at that going, that's probably my only route to gain those 5 million places back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because obviously it's going after kind of like the low ownership play, right? In terms of Salah versus Haaland, and Salah's got the fixtures in front of him that you know that he's potentially going to do well in. But it's that gamble, isn't it? It's the you're taking a risk on him doing well, but also Haaland blanking across those 4 weeks as well. And
you're hoping you just outscores him over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, or outscores him, but
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. So that's the only issue.
Well, it's a big risk, but
yeah,
one you might have to take, or people down at end need to take.
Maybe. Okay, let's move on. We are into international break injuries replacements. I think there were a few that we could talk about, but obviously the headline two were Gabriel at Arsenal and Semenyo for Bournemouth, and we've provided you there 4 potential replacements for each of those players. Shout out to Fantasy Football Edits for providing the graphics. So thank you very much for that. Makes our lives a lot easier, and these discussions run a lot smoother. Let's talk Gabriel first and foremost, because it wasn't the only Arsenal injury throughout the international break. Obviously, Calafiori going down as well. So actually, these 4 players that we've highlighted here could be a reasonable replacement for Gabriel and Calafiori. So you might be picking up 2 out of the 4 to bring into your teams. But
I've already picked up two of the 3 Arsenal defenders already in my team. Stupidly going 3 at the back, all Arsenal. I'll let Paul talk about Gabriel, but quickly on Calafiori, with the news, I think we got that it wasn't particularly serious. It was precautionary. He should be okay. But back of my mind, I'm thinking Marcel Lewis-Skelly is there in the wings. So any doubt over Calafiori, they haven't got to risk him because they got a ready-made left back ready to go. So, I was planning to bench boost this week, and any doubt, you can't do it. So I'm sort of half thinking it's not a good idea now.
Yeah, Lewis-Skelly will be chomping at the bit to get some minutes as well.
Well, Arsenal strengthening. Paul bemoaned before we come on air. There's another fiver about Arsenal's strength in depth, but you have players of his quality sat there ready to go, so they haven't got to force players onto the pitch. It's gone the days where Saka gets flogged and breaks down at the back end of the season. Any doubt over the first teamers like Calafiori, they got a ready-made replacement. So, although he's first choice guaranteed left back on what we've seen in the first 11 games. Lewis-Skelly, as we know, his quality will come straight in.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Gabriel replacements obviously less so from an Arsenal perspective. Obviously, you've got Mascara and Hikape and things like that. But from an FPL perspective, we're looking at the likes of Virgil, De Ligt, Nico O'Reilly, and Daniel Munoz coming in for those. All really kind of solid picks, I would say. And I guess kind of, I would say maybe apart from Virgil, offer similar sort of threat to Gabriel from a set pieces and a goals perspective. Obviously, we know quite a lot about Munoz and what he's capable of from an XGC perspective. De Ligt is almost carbon copy replacement for Gabriel from a set pieces and goals threat. Nico O'Reilly as well. He's been bombing up the pitch and been doing bits for City in recent weeks. So, but the fixtures for Liverpool makes Virgil a bit of a clean sheet magnet. So, yeah, Paul, your thoughts initially on the Gabriel injury and then potentially the replacements for FPL.
Yeah, so obviously the Gabriel injury, the news we're hearing is it could be between 1 to 2 months out, which is the reason it's worrying from my perspective is because he's the linchpin in that defence. I think he keeps Saliba on song. I think he keeps him grounded because I think Saliba sometimes can let his head go and get a bit adventurous because of how athletic he is. So it is a little bit concerning from a selfish Arsenal perspective. And I couldn't pick him directly. And I think Timber is probably the best asset if you've got an Arsenal defender and want to swap like for like. I think he's probably the most guaranteed. But for me, I really like O'Reilly. The only caveat is obviously Anknor is coming back to fitness now. So will his minutes be diminished in the coming weeks? The other option, I think, from City is Mateus Nunes, and I think he's pretty much got that right back spot locked down currently. So he would be a really, I guess, great alternative for me, especially with those really gorgeous fixtures after that Newcastle game. So that would be probably where I would be looking. I already own Munoz, so I don't need to worry too much about him. I'm going to get his exploits. And the only thing for the Ligt, I think those fixtures probably look nicer on paper compared to the amount of chances that they still are conceding. So I wouldn't be put off by him, but I think those other three are probably better options.
Well, then it comes in at 5 million. Do you think that's probably $500,000 too much for what he's offering in that United team that's still conceding lots of chances?
Yeah, without sounding, I guess, condescending. And he's got let's be fair, he's probably got that 5 million price tag because it's Man United that he plays for. So yeah, I think if he was 4.5, I think he would probably be a nicer pick to save 0.5. But yeah, for me, I certainly would be looking at O'Reilly or Nunes. Is there anyone else, Scott, that I didn't pull out that you'd like to shine some light on?
There's two names. One of them is an obvious one in Marco Senesi. I know he's highly owned already, but he would be a good shout because he's the DEFCON king. 141 DEFCON points he's amassed in 11 games. Only 5 million, so he's the same price as De Ligt. And Bournemouth have a nice run of fixtures as well. The next three are very, very tasty. And they're very solid at home. They have 2 home games in the next 3. So I'd pick him. And then Joachim Anderson from Fulham would be my budget choice. He again's a DEFCON beast. He's only at 4.5. Fulham have a nice run of fixtures too. And they've looked pretty sound defensively. So if you were looking at slightly alternative, maybe a guy you wouldn't mind benching from week to week, Anderson would be my budget choice.
I like it. Valid.
Nice. Yeah. I think your comments on Saliba, Paul, were valid, but I can't get away from the idea that if Arsenal are going to continue to be a threat from set pieces, that they're going to have to replace Gabriel's kind of positioning in a way, and I think Saliba just kind of makes sense as a like for like big, tall, strong, powerful player in the air. That he should be the one that kind of steps up and becomes that goal threat from set pieces.
Well, he did it last year. If you remember when Gabriel was out for a little spell, I think Saliba stepped up. I think he scored back-to-back games when Gabriel was missing, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah. I think it will depend on who his partner is, whether it be Nketiah or Mosquera. I think.
Do you think it'll be Nketiah being left-footed?
I think that feels like the obvious choice, and Nketiah certainly is looking good from what I've seen of him so far. But Mosquera is also very adept on both feet. So again, I also wouldn't be surprised if he plays him as well as the left-sided centre back. So
and could he bring in Calafiori to play that left side and play Lewis Skelly at left back? Is that an option?
Also an option. Obviously, Calafiori plays centre half for Italy, and again, he's also very very natural there. So yeah, I think that's why Arteta likes lots of big, large, lumpy lads up in defence.
The only danger that you've got with playing Calafiori centre half is that he will almost certainly leave a nice big gap in the middle of the defence when he wants to go and play number 9 for 10 minutes.
I was watching after you mentioned that. I watched an analysis. I think Alan Shearer did it on Match of the Day about the Arsenal fullbacks, and Calafiori is literally the furthest forward on virtually every attack that Arsenal put down. I mean, a lot of the play sort of evolved around him. He's not really getting involved, but he's occupying a defender most of the time. I think it's only a matter of time before the ball drops to him in a bit of space in the box, and he puts it in. I said to Paul last week, I'm fully expecting a big haul off him at any given moment. So I'm hoping he's fit for this week and he plays, because he's quite an exciting asset to have in a minute.
But just a quick Calafiori stat for you might like. He's one of only 3 players that has 5+ shots with their right foot, their left foot, and their head. The other 2 are strikers, as you would imagine, which is Mateta and Thiago. So he's right up there with regards to attacking potential.
Yeah. When you watch Arsenal, I mean, it's obvious if you track him. Do you ever do this when you pick a player for a team and you watch the game live? All you do is follow the player that you own, and you miss the whole game. You ever do that?
Always.
Yeah. So when I watched Arsenal Sunderland, I was just watching Calafiori the whole game. I missed all 4 goals. Just watched him, for the whole 90 minutes. He was actually quite unfortunate not to come away with a return in that game.
Yeah, I would suggest to go back and look at his heat map from this season.
Yeah,
it is crazy. The amount of the pitch that he's covered so far this season for a left back.
Yeah, there's a brilliant piece of content that I saw the other day, and I'm going to forget who actually uploaded it, but I will try and find it. They were just basically taking the mick out of the fact that the centre half, all the centre half wants to do is pass it to their left, and Calafiori should be there, but every time it was like passes it to his left, he goes, Ricardo, boss, ball. And he goes, pass it to his left, and the ball goes, and it's like, and they, like Ricardo's in centre mid. It's like, oh, sorry, boss. And then he does it again. He's like, and then he's up at number 9. He's in the box. Oh, sorry, boss. It's just constantly like not where you expect him to be, but it's working for him. So, look, as you say, hopefully that yellow flag is just purely precautionary and it's not a full-on injury.
Well, so on the international break injuries, we talk about this all the time. Is if you pull out of an international game, instantly you get a flag. And I think most players in the league are carrying some sort of niggle regardless. And they pull out of the international games just to safeguard themselves, give themselves a week off. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong per se. They can play. But the flag goes up, it puts doubt in your mind. You start thinking crazy things. I've already thought out, planned out a -24 for this week. It's madness. And I know the flags aren't real.
Yeah, it's a bit like Enzo's flag, right? He pulled out of the Argentinian squad. I think he's been holding this niggly injury throughout the season so far, and I think he was managing himself by pulling out, and he's been yellow flagged because of it.
On him, I'll just give you a little word of caution. If you remember the last international break, you brought him in, and he missed the following game.
Yeah.
So, I think it's widely reported that he does have a knee issue that he's managing. Maris has come out a number of times and said that he's not training properly or fully, basically using the games to keep fit. So there is an issue there. Obviously not a serious one, otherwise he'd pull out altogether. Are you worried at all, being an Enzo owner, that he will be all right for this week? Because it's a tasty fixture.
Of course, this is my whole squad was planned around this game week's worth of nice fixtures that's been thrown into disrepair. Unfortunately, I've got I guess too many yellow flags. He's the less of the worries because the fact that I know that he pulled out early and he's managing himself. I would like to think he's managing himself in preparation for playing Burnley. So that's why I'm a little bit more confident in him playing. Obviously, I'll keep my ears to the ground in preparation for the deadline. But I'm in a comfort zone where I'm happy for at least one of my 3 flagged players not to play, and my first sub will come on. But yeah, that's why I'm hoping at least one of them that's yellow flagged is going to come good.
And I guess Chelsea being the early game on the Saturday, there might be a team leak one way or the other, so you might get told it was in or out.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, the other headline injury that is definitely an injury is Semenyo.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh,
it's still indifferent. You're hearing mixed reports.
There's been rumors circulating about Semenyo.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So depending on your news source, I guess it either is an injury or it isn't an injury. So we'll have to wait and see.
We're only going on what the Ghanaian doctor said. We haven't heard anything from Bournemouth, so
okay.
I'll be waiting for that. I'm crossing my fingers that he's okay.
Is this a Friday press conference? It's going to be a Friday press conference decision.
I think so, but like I say, I kind of need him to play. Otherwise, there's a potential that I might need to take a hit, which is annoying. So,
but just as
definitely people I'm thinking of for sure.
Just as a precautionary, then we get into those Friday press conferences and Areola says not Areola. I can never pronounce his name.
Iriola.
Anyway, Iriola. There we go.
That's replaced him as with the West Ham goalkeeper.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's just a pronunciation thing. I couldn't say it. So if Iriola does come out and says that Semenyo is done, we've got some options for you. Interesting that the ones that have been highlighted there, all 3 of them almost certainly within the Semenyo budget, but one of them almost definitely isn't. So it will definitely be a case of, if you are going to bring Saka in over Semenyo, then you're going to have to either make another move or have cash in the bank.
Will it be that Gabriel downgrade, right? So I'm assuming if you downgrade that Gabriel, you free up an Arsenal slot. Income Saka.
A lot of players have been rotating their squads, especially the attackers, and I think they've been saving money in the likes of Gyökeres that has dropped out in recent weeks. People have converted to a 7.5 striker. So similar to me, they've got the 1+ million in the bank to support pushing for upgrades.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair shout. I mean, I myself got 1.4 in the bank. Actually, similar, same reasons. Dropped Gyökeres down to Welbeck and had that cash in the bank to ready to go. But the one that I would like to highlight out of those 4, Jeremy Doku, man of the match performance against Liverpool, has got that tougher game against Newcastle coming up. Hopefully Guimaraes doesn't snap him in half, or maybe I am hoping that he does. Yeah, but 6.4 million, and then beyond Newcastle, there is a really nice run of games with Leeds, Fulham, Sunderland, Palace aside, because Palace are a bit of a bogey team for City these days. You got West Ham then in game week 17. So yeah, he would be the one that I would be looking at out of those 4. In Mbeumo, again, obviously on really good form for United, but the only thing that kind of potentially stops me from bringing Mbeumo in at this moment in time is knowing that I'm going to have to take him straight back out again come game week 16. And then Sarr, obviously we've covered Sarr quite a bit on the pod already. We all know what his qualities are. But yeah, that Wolves fixture, very, very tempting, even just for a 1 week hit, because if it turns out that Semenyo's injury is either not as serious as it turns out to be, or it's a case of you could bring him straight back in game week 13, then as a 1 week, as a one and done, Sarr versus Wolves would be very tempting.
Well, on the Semenyo injury, there's conflicting reports. So, as Paul highlighted, the Ghanaian doctor said he pulled some sort of ankle ligament against Japan, went off on the 55th minute. It didn't look like he didn't limp off. He walked off, and no one even realised that was an injury. He just walked off. People thought he got substituted. Then it came out a couple of days later that he'd left the group to go to Bournemouth for a bit of rehab. And then news broke yesterday that possibly he could have left the camp for an anniversary he had to attend. It's like his 5th year anniversary with his girlfriend. He was pictured out on the town, whining and dining, and people putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with whatever conclusion they want to. So either way, it didn't look like a serious injury, but I guess he's flagged, so it puts that doubt in your mind. Do you? Because let's face it, his form's been poor over the last 3 or 4 games. I think people are looking at this run of fixtures now from West Ham this week, saying, well, if he doesn't return shortly, he'll be gone anyway. So this flag might be a reason to fast track that move. I've certainly looked at that and gone, I could get him gone. And my Gabriel downgrade, I could upgrade Semenyo to Saka. Would be my move. But yeah, if we take on the basis that he is missing this game, I think Mbeumo is the standout. If you don't own him already, he's the man in form. I wouldn't be put off with the AFCON fixtures because you're going to get about 6 games out of Mbeumo before he has to leave, which is plenty, and those fixtures are all good. So I wouldn't be put off with the AFCON on the horizon for him.
Nice, Paul. You've got Semenyo in your squad. Are you planning on dropping, keeping? What's the thoughts and feelings for yourself?
Again, if he's deemed fit, I definitely will be keeping him for the West Ham game for sure.
You start him. So you get no news. Are you starting him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. So I think, again, I'm similar to Scott, wary that his form has not been great of the last few weeks, but these fixtures coming up are pretty favourable. West Ham, they've got Sunderland and Everton. They're good opportunities for him to get on the board. But yeah, for me, Mbeumo is the obvious pick that I would be looking at. If Semenyo does start and doesn't return, I certainly will be looking at Mbeumo going into 13 and 14 for sure.
As an alternative, Paul, news obviously broke, I think, yesterday that Sesko is going to be missing for about a month.
Yeah.
Which ensures you would imagine that Cunha gets that number 9 shirt. Would you be tempted with him at all, being slightly cheaper?
I would, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he would be, I guess, a really good differentiator. Obviously, a lot of people are already moved on to Mbeumo because of his form, so I guess he is the obvious choice based on form. But yeah, I think he's a good option. He's looked good in flashes, which to me is Cunha in a nutshell. On the eye test and in FPL points wise, he looks a world beater in moments. So yeah, if he looks like he could be the starting number 9 for sure, because I think he might then. But then that would then bring Fernandes into the conversation, because then does that mean he then plays further forward and he becomes more of a valuable attacking asset?
My thought process went, if you're going to replace Mbeumo, who are you looking to replace Mbeumo for the AFCON? It probably would be Cunha or Fernandes. So if you can't afford to stretch to Bruno right now, then why not go for Cunha now and have him already in place?
It's a good call.
Yeah,
I like it. I will consider it based on whatever we hear. as the week goes on.
Or not.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on because I'm conscious, obviously, that we're just ticking over time-wise now as well.
Some of these are just more stat highlights more than anything, Darren. So we might be able to go through them fairly quickly.
Just to back up our defensive chit chat about the replacements. There's your DEFCON list. That big graphic there in the middle. It's the right hand column, the furthest to the right you want to be looking at. That's your XGC column. So there'd be the one column and that graphic on the left. I'll be looking at just to base your picks around.
And this is a combination of data from game weeks 1 to 11, right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. There's the Forest XGC of nearly 17 goals in the first 11 game weeks is crazy.
Yeah, they're one of the worst defenses. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So when you watch the games and you look at the eye test and things like that, you would have thought that the Wolves would have been right down there. You would have thought that. I mean, obviously, I know that West Ham are down there as well, but Forest have been poor.
United
also, but yeah, United as well.
Goes into the Delit conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If the lit came in at 4.5, I'll probably be looking at him. But I think that 5 million price tag combined with United's poor data, puts me right off.
And again, same with the Newcastle discussions that we were having, Darren, about them over the season being right up there defensively, despite the last couple of weeks being really off it for them. So
that's the only thing.
Be a bit of a weird one to take a Newcastle defender out.
Ditching your Newcastle defender. Well, is that a nice segue into the next bit?
Terrible, isn't it? Shocking.
Nearly. Just some attacking stats, I think, just to back up some of our attacking chit chat.
All right, cool. Well,
just to highlight very, very quickly there, look at Arsenal's score on that column there on the far right. I mean, look how far ahead they are of any other team.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
You know, if you want, like Paul mentioned, if you want the Gabriel replacement, if you haven't got another Arsenal defender, Timber has to be the player of choice, really.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. All right, cool. If you want this particular data and you want to analyze it or look at it longer, feel free to pause the video, or please do head over to X and follow FPL Karim, who puts this data together, and you'll be able to pick it apart yourself. But yeah, we'll move on to the attacking stats. So top 10 expected goals for the season so far, and top 10 expected assists for the season so far. Again, you can see Abramo right at the top of that list for the expected assists. Interestingly, only 1 assist so far this year. And then you look at the likes of Rice and Grealish and Doku, who have far lower XA, but have outperformed it quite considerably.
It's because Rice has better players to hit from corners than Burmo has.
Fair point.
just to go back to the Arsenal defensive conversation as well. Their threat from corners we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it the threat from corners that they're just really good at it? Is it that one?
Well, Burmo takes corners from the left, and it's the same side that Saka takes them. I don't think Saka's got an assist this season, strangely enough.
Nope. Yeah.
Not in the league, no.
Just to buck that what we were saying about swinging in corners, for Arsenal.
Yeah. So Arsenal are both simultaneously brilliant at corners and shit at corners at the same time.
It depends. So when Rice is swinging them from the left side, they're brilliant, and Saka couldn't hit a barn door. We know that's not true, but
no.
Yeah, I mean, in Burmo, obviously the highest XGA on that list, and he's a goal threat. So the two things combined, him being a goal threat and a huge assist threat, is the reason why we would highlight him as our number one Semenyo replacement.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Top 10 expected goals. Obviously, there's no surprises there really. I guess the only surprise, actually, or maybe it's not, is how far ahead Haaland is on that XG stat, but obviously shows as well in the fact that the number of goals that he has actually converted off the back of that is also nearly or is over double the next man behind him. Again, any pickups from there that you're looking at and going?
Yeah, the one man that appears on both slides. Bruno
Fernandes, yeah, it's true. Three assists, 2 goals.
Not bad from a holding midfield position.
Yeah,
no. Yeah. That's
again another reason to see how they line up with Sesko out, because if he could get further up, he becomes even more of a threat.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, he's a must-have pick.
I think he's a fantastic pick anyway. I think he's one of those guys you just put in your team and you forget. You just leave him in there, tick on. He might be a bit high in the budget for value, but there's points guaranteed at some point with him.
I think the difficulty is his returns come in fits and bursts.
Mm-hmm. That's why you got to leave him in there.
When you're spending that type of money, that it's not a fits and bursts type of money that you're spending on him in that 9 million point. Yeah. So I think that's the issue. If he was, let's say, 8 million, I think you'd take that all day.
Mm-hmm. Well, the price point he's at, I guess it makes you make a decision, doesn't it? Which is nice. One decisions that you got to think long and hard about are the best decisions in this game. The ones that come too easy, like a player's been underpriced or overpriced, like the lit conversation. 5 million for me, he's off the table instantly at that price. The Bruno price is 8.9 now. It is a enticer. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I just wanted to call out of how incredible Haaland is despite having an 11 XG and scoring 14 goals, which is phenomenal in itself, he's also missed 11 big chances.
Including a penalty.
So he's the top of big chances missed so far this season. Your man Mateta is a close second with 10. But just think, even if he converts 20% of those big chances missed, how far ahead he would be. So it shows how phenomenal he has been so far this season.
And what a stupid move it would be to ditch him for someone like Salah.
I know, shocking.
Stupid move.
Yeah.
It's a risk and reward game, right?
Sure. Yeah. It's a good thing I'm not easily impressionable, isn't it? I am, actually. It's actually one of my biggest faults.
Watch him do it next week.
Yeah. Just before we move on, who had 34-year-old Danny Welbeck as the top scoring Englishman on their 2025 bingo card? What a renaissance that man's having.
Are you going to pad this one out because we went to Argo last week and he hauled and Welbeck didn't?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
No, he's been in the form of his life. So
yeah,
and I know you've got him, Darren. So
I have, absolutely.
I have my fingers crossed for you.
Which is why you stopped scoring.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably. I mean, it's definitely just my luck. Right, let's get into game week 12 team reveals. Scotty, as always, I think you're up first. So you got Petrovic in goal. Back three of Munoz, Timber, Senesi. Middle four of Sarr, Xhaka, Mbeumo, and Jai. Captain Haaland, Mateta, and Thiago doing the bits up top. And I believe you are bench boosting this week. So you'll have Semenyo, Calafiori, Gabriel, and Dubravka doing bits as well.
Waving the flags on my bench, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I can bench boost this week now with that uncertainty surrounding those players. I think I just can't do it. Although I think Semenyo and Calafiori will play. You can't take the chance because you'd have wasted a chip and then gone, but what was I thinking? They were flagged for a reason. So, and looking at my team, there's one omission on that, and that's a captain option outside of Haaland. I look at that team and go, well, there's no real standout captain option for me week on week to go against Haaland if I ever want to do that. And that player is Saka. Paul played a blinder last week and went against Haaland, and it paid off beautifully with Saka's 12 points. And he looks sharp. Saka, he looks back to his best. I can see some big returns coming for him in the short term. So the move I'm currently thinking will be Gabriel out and Semenyo out. Semenyo up to Saka. Leaves me 4.6 for the downgrade for Gabriel. And I'm currently looking at Dan Ballard from Sunderland. So I think he's an absolute bundle of energy. That guy, he's all over. You're about Calafiori's heat map. I like to see Ballard's heat map. He's all over the place. But he's a real goal threat too. Really aggressive from set plays. Good footballer as well. Good passer of the ball. Defcon animal. Ticks all the boxes. The only thing against him is that Sunderland do have a few ropey fixtures coming up, but I have to pick one of those fixtures to bench boost in, and I think I was looking at 15 would be the choice, or I could take the risk and go this week again because they play Fulham, which is looking a bit short shy. So if I'm backing Calafiori to play, then I might still bench boost if I make those two moves.
Fair. So we just did a whole section on the pod about Gabriel replacements, and Dan Ballard didn't come up once. Is that what we're saying?
Well, because he's right at the bottom of the budget listings. I mean, at that price point, I mentioned Anderson, Fulham, for long term.
Fair. Yeah, you did. Yeah, fair enough.
And Chris Richards is also another shout at that price point, but I've already tripled up on Palace.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Paul, any thoughts on the squad and the selections? Obviously, yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting to push ahead with the bench boost this week. It doesn't really make that much sense.
I think the players that Scott's called out for his swap, I think Saka is a good pick. I think people are not jumping on Arsenal assets because our fixtures are a little bit tougher on paper. So I think could be even a slight differentiator as well, which is good. And the Ballard pick, again, all the reasons he's chosen it for are valid. And he also came from a very good academy, and we clearly taught him well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I like your team, Scott. The way that it's set up, well balanced, and your global kind of rank shows that as well. Although it did dip a little bit this week, but I assume that you have Haaland to thank largely for that.
Well, it was Thiago really that bailed me out last week. He without his brace and 3-point bonus, so that team would have been in the bin. It really underperformed somewhat, and that was the risk of playing the triple Arsenal defence. I mean, was it no goal conceded in 8, and then they conceded a double against Sunderland, who one of the lowest teams for creating chances. They ended up with three lovely single points across the back line. But that's the risk and reward. That's the way I want to play the game. I want to back the data this season and see how it unfolds.
Yeah, the thing is with that as well is that if that was any other team or any other side, like if you go back and look at games where centre backs and what I've been picking up DEFCON and they've conceded 2 goals, like they've always had the DEFCON to kind of like back them up a little bit because they've been peppered and they've been under the cosh to kind of justify it. But I think actually this might actually be one of the only games this season where the team's conceded twice and the defenders in that group have been not really not being able to back that kind of the conceding the brace up with DEFCON.
That is the risk of picking Arsenal defenders because, as Paul knows, that they control the game, and same with City for a large degree, is that Arsenal defenders, as a rule, don't pick up DEFCON. I think outside of Gabriel, I don't think any of the back line have picked them up. I know looking through Timber and Calafiori's stats, they haven't picked up any. You're banking on the clean sheets for Arsenal and then attacking returns on top of that. DEFCONs really aren't really a thing for them. I mean, if I remember, Sunderland's XG in that game was like 0.4. and they scored twice. So 2 goals from virtually nothing. So they still didn't concede many chances. And I watched the game and thought, well, I still back them every day with that triple up.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Paolo, you're up next.
Yeah.
So Petrovic in goal. Currently have Gabriel in your starting lineup. I'm assuming that's going to change. With Senesi, Munoz, Saka, Enzo, Sarr, Semenyo, Thiago, Mateta as captain, so going against Haaland this week, with Haaland in your squad also. Bench of Pope, Mukiele, Stach, and Rodon. Up in rank this week, Paolo, I think as Scott mentioned there, that Saka captain in game week 11 really kind of pushed you up in the rankings.
Yeah, a really positive week for me. And like I say, I planned my team around these fixture swings, and this was one of the fixture weeks that I was really looking forward to, because I'd lined up my team for this. And to get that many potential injury flags, like I say, I'm confident the Enzo one is a precaution, so I'm quietly confident that he will play, so that's not a problem. It's the Semenyo one and the Gabriel one that's obviously the concern. The Gabriel one looks likely, so the Van Dijk swap seems the most obvious. Again, it's very template, which I don't like to do too often, but again, like I said earlier, I'd have to believe there's some clean sheets coming, and he is also, a good threat from set pieces. So, fingers crossed. I'll get it either way, one end of the pitch or the other. And then, Semenyo, obviously, again, and Mbeumo seems the most obvious pick if he is going to be out. So, that's the thought process. Do I take a -4? Because, again, happy for Mukiele to come off the bench if one of them doesn't play. That's kind of the thought process, depending on whether Semenyo's injury is going to put him out for longer or not, really, whether I make that -4 or not, or wait a week. Back in Mateta against Haaland. Again, I'm trying to pick the weeks that I feel are the obvious ones to go against him, or at least try and move up the rank. That's the only way I'm going to do it, because all those top performing managers are going to have Haaland.
So you think it's a good week to go against him this week?
Again, I'm hoping Newcastle at home, they try and create an atmosphere there, create a bit of a fortress. They're going to try and make it tough. I'm hoping they can bring back the defensive numbers that we saw earlier, and make it hard going. And like I say, I obviously want Haaland to score, but I'm hoping that Mateta will outscore him, I guess is the plan.
Well, I mean, his ownership is that high that you'd actually want Haaland to blank.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because for every point he gains, although you gain a point, you actually lose, because his ownership would be sort of 150%, so you'd actually go backwards, although you gain points, strangely. And his record against Newcastle was very poor.
Okay.
He's only scored once in six games against them. That was his very first visit to St James's 3 seasons ago, so he's blanked the last 5 games against him. So stat-wise, probably a good week to go against, but he is in the form of his life. Another couple of goals midweek for Norway. I see where you're coming from, but big call.
It's a risk, but I think obviously I've had to play catch up from fairly early on, of making some wrong decisions early on this season. So it seems to be my story in FPL, but I need to take that risk and go against the grain. Chip. I'm trying to plan out my chips. I've been holding on to them. No real reason, just I haven't planned it out. So free hit for game week 13 for when City and Liverpool have really nice fixtures. Triple captain Haaland in 17 is the plan against West Ham. And then the bench boost, again, it's a throwaway chip for me. I'm currently looking at 15, but again, I could probably hold on after that bench boost, to be honest, until the very last game week 18, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not too precious on that one, to be honest.
No, fair enough. I think solid squad. I think as Scott mentioned there, obviously the stats and the data suggest backing against Haaland, with his only goal at St James's Park coming over 3 years ago. And Scott, you mentioned a few episodes ago that you fancied Palace to absolutely thump someone at some point in this fixture run that Palace are on. Your hopes were that it happened against Brighton, of course, but it didn't, unfortunately. But if it's going to happen against anyone, surely Wolves is the one where it's going to happen.
Well, we still are riding high in the XG and chances created table. Even though the Brighton game finished 0-0, it was quite a lively, entertaining end-to-end game. We still created a couple of chances. Rob Edwards, new boss in at Wolves, probably hasn't had long enough to do anything of note to get them more organised. So if we are going to thump somebody, then this could be the week, as Wolves really are struggling defensively, conceding lots of chances, lots of big chances too. And then being at home plays into our hands on our sort of mid-break counter press style. I can see us having a lot of joy this week. So Q, a 1-0 Wolves win incoming.
Yes,
Rob Edwards is the new Premier League Messiah.
The frustrating thing for all these injury flags for me is I plan to upgrade Stack this week to make the option for me to have 5 across the midfield, and it's just frustrating. I think that's the thing I think a lot of FPL players will be feeling right now.
Well, you'll probably get to kind of 3-4 o'clock Friday afternoon. The press conferences are done. We'll have a much clearer picture of what the Enzo and Semenyo picture looks like. You might still be able to make those moves, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the advice to everyone. We say every international break, don't make early transfers. And this goes to Darren too. Oh, wait a minute. Don't make the early, because like you said, the press conferences should clear it up. Not always.
Yeah.
Depends who's holding the press conference. Eddie Howe is notoriously awful at giving you any news. That's the advice. Hold fire until Friday evening at the earliest.
And on that note, I'm going to show you the transfer that I did earlier this morning. So I've gone Dubravka in goal, Senesi, Van der Ven, De Kuyper and Lacroix at the back, Bruno Guimaraes, Eze, Grealish across the middle, Haaland, Welbeck and Captain Mateta up top. And I have got more yellow flags than an F1 race on my subs bench there, with Gabriel, Gordon and Enzo. However, with the Enzo news on Friday after the press conference, or a leaked team Saturday morning, he may just creep back into my first 11 instead of De Kuyper, because De Kuyper's not really been getting the minutes for Brighton, if I'm perfectly honest. So that's a switch that might still happen kind of later on this week. Dropped Malik Thiaw from Newcastle, just because playing against Haaland, although I now know that the stats and data suggests that Haaland isn't potentially going to score and Thiaw's probably going to have a clean sheet, is what it is. I've got Senesi in against West Ham instead, which actually feels like quite a sensible switch in the long term. And obviously West Ham have been relatively poor in front of goal. So Bournemouth were quite high up on that XGC table that we just saw as well. So I'm quietly confident that the Senesi switch is the right one to make.
Well, he's a good player to bring in, as we highlighted. He was on our list of top transfers in as a Gabriel replacement, Darren. not as a mature replacement, and you're still rocking Van der Ven in there, although they're playing Arsenal this week.
Yeah.
You want to hope that Enzo is fit, replaces one of them backline players, because I can see. I mean, in all honesty, I can see Arsenal putting three past Spurs quite easily, because Spurs have been a little bit poor. And you're right about De Kuyper. He's in and out of the team. Brighton players are hard to nail. Who's going to start from one week to the next? Hertz loves a rotation more than Pep does. And you've got a few other players that aren't really performing FPL wise. Grealish hasn't returned for a while. Eze hasn't really returned.
Scored last week though. It was game week 11. Did he scored game week 11 or was
Eze didn't score? No.
Eze
scored against Palace.
Game week 10. That was right.
Yeah, week before.
But I think that's his only return for a few weeks. I mean, explain why you didn't take out Gabriel for that move, please, mate.
If I'm perfectly honest, I saw the headlines about him being injured and out for one. Like I saw the headlines about him being injured, and typically international break injuries, they tend to be quite light. So I wasn't too worried. I thought, okay, I'll just bench him for a week because it's just going to be a ball ache to take him out and bring him back in, and like playing around with the budget and stuff like that. Malik Thiaw hasn't really done anything for me as a Newcastle asset. Yes, they've they're quite high, quite low down on the XGC side of things, but from a DEFCON perspective, I don't think Thiaw's really picked anything up. I certainly haven't seen big scores from him in my FPL squad over the weeks that I've had him in. So it was more of a judgment about taking him out and bringing him someone in of a similar sort of budget range that could do stuff for me. And Senesi was very much in and around that price tag that I am confident would be able to do that. And then of course made the switch, confirmed everything, logged in to do our little chat and catch up on the agenda, and then found that actually the injury to Gabriel is quite a bit serious. And it's like 1 to 2 months.
If you watch the footage when it happened, it looked bad at the start. He went down off the ball, and then went off, and you could tell he was in a bit of distress. And then it was footage of him leaving.
I don't watch England games. I'm not going to watch a random Brazil game. But when I was,
you didn't have to watch the game. The footage was widely posted all over social media because it was a thing. It wasn't an international injury. It was an actual injury. And then there's footage of him leaving the ground afterwards, and he's limping pretty bad. You can see that he's struggling. Yeah, I think from that point, people think, well, this is an actual injury that could be worth watching.
Fair enough. All right. Well, he'll be first on the tick list for next week. I could decide to take a -4 and bring someone else in to because it's going to be a long term, then it makes sense.
You kill me, Darren. You kill me. You absolutely kill me.
Dreams of being in the top 900,000 are very, very quickly slipping away, aren't they?
Yeah, if you're going to make decisions like that, yeah. Gabriel to Senesi would have been, a great pick, to be honest. A great transfer.
So close.
Yeah. Gordon's injury looks quite severe. I don't know what the reports are of how long he's going to be out, but
he's been a good pickup for you, Darren.
Yeah.
Well, again,
exactly.
He's just another one. I thought it was like take the risk. He's just come back from injury. He's low owned. The eye test was saying that he was getting in all the right spaces and whatnot. It was only a matter of time, and unfortunately, he's just ended up back on the rehab table. So it just it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Because he could have gone off over the last couple of weeks, and he hasn't. Just is what it is, isn't it?
Just gone off.
Yeah.
He's just gone off, literally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
gone off and not come back.
Exactly. So it'll be Gabriel and Gordon that obviously come out over the next couple of weeks. I might even take a -4 this week and then just use my freebie to get Gordon out next week. and just swap Gabriel in for I'm tempted actually to go with Saliba because I feel like he will be the goal threat that replaces Gabriel for those corners.
Well, on the plus side, Darren, I've just realised you haven't got any African players in there, so you'll be topped up nicely. You haven't got that headache of who to remove before AFCON, so at least you're ahead of the game on that front.
Yeah, it was by design the whole time.
Just hold tight until those 5 freebies come in, and then you can rip your team up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get a mini wild card on top of the 2 wild cards that you already get, because that's how I I play the game. It's not enough, no. Yeah, look, I'm not. I won't make no bones about it. Like I'm not I never have been like the greatest player of this game. I always pick like these left field picks that I think could do something, should do something, and quite often that they don't. But it's always in those moments when they do that it's always quite satisfying. And sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I get it really wrong, and it just is what it is. I'm here for the fun of it.
As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. Because people do forget that it's supposed to be a game of fun. So you play it in the right manner.
Yeah, I won't deny that I'm not crying into my pint on a few weekends when Grealish has missed an absolute sitter.
I was going to say that the last time I spent a weekend watching football with you didn't seem particularly happy with what was going on. But you didn't seem like you're having a lot of fun. But it's on a Tuesday. You can say you had fun. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's that was that. To be fair, that was more to do with the fact that I'd backed Haaland to score a hat trick, and then when he's stepping up to take a penalty in the 18th minute, you're thinking, oh well, he's bang on here. He's going to bury this, and he's got another 80 minutes to score 2 goals. Let's go. But no, it wasn't to be, unfortunately. There you go.
Oh, you're a dreamer. I love it.
Always. Boys, it's been a pleasure talking FPL with you, as always. If you are still watching the stream, please do drop us a like, subscribe to the channel. If any of this information has been valuable to you or influenced your transfer decisions for Game Week 12, please do drop us a comment. Let us know who you're bringing in, who you're taking out. Do you have Gabriel in your team? You probably do. If you don't, then what have you been doing the last 11 weeks? And who are you replacing him with? Let us know down in the comments. And in the meantime, good luck for Game Week 12. And we will see you on the other side. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you.